You take for my Kwaba Chroma TV, Bessom Sene, number channel, so I'm hit at the number subscribe, bomba like Yashama Wana. Pen semi be a sonya be a mesem, some budget mania that Jenia Bawumia Tentamakuti in summer and the day it will go. A top NPP activist for no in the December better to drive because Enra shocking at Bawumia a shock more with 118 to 10 voter delegating at the man against Agyapong. Na no much you say, come say Bawumia aye eduma pa because enye easy say even though as a northern bit makwa santimemu akonya that vote from the delegate no mobekaya asante for ayobia sometimes no discrimination ewo mu kakra nti enye se mamudu Bawumia bitima benya sa vote no ewo santimemu ha omode nsem foforo eni nsem we na atoto dwa na mesem se ye beje mre ne adaje na ye bawro mu ntentem ne yakọ ne akuti nsem no emu ye ba ye nso de kan obia no ye nso ye beba abedomo
his embodiment of that now, Dr. Bawumia. Give me your impressions about what you've heard him say.
Well, Dr. Bawumia, I don't know what it is, but the energy wasn't really there. I mean, if you listen to him when he met the media yesterday or a day ago, you could feel the same thing. I think he had a cold or something. And so because of that, it looks like the tempo wasn't as high as you wanted it to be. But in terms of the substance of the speech, he wanted to accomplish certain goals. One of the goals was to distinguish himself from President Kufuor. And so he had that particular statement there that I am my own man, I also have my own vision. He also wanted to make a pivot to some of the major values and policy ideals that will govern who he is. And one of it is inclusivity. Another one was unity. Another one was digitization. And he also said he's a person of hard work, showing meritocracy, that if you work hard, you'll be able to achieve what you want to achieve. And so this is a vice president who also talked about his background. He also talked about him being a technocrat and being brought into government, and that it's a sign for people who are not in mainstream politics to also come in and work for the good of the country. So this is somebody who is very well aware of the tax that lies behind him. He's somebody who knows that he really needs to work to earn the trust of many Ghanaians, and so you saw him making sure that he was pivoting to these people to come in and to join the new campaign that's coming forward. I'm sure in the future we are going to look at how he's going to match up against his other colleagues. But for now, he's focusing on thanking those who helped him. He's focusing on distinguishing himself from President Kufuor, and then he's also focusing on selling a new vision that hopefully Ghanaians will be confident on and join him.
And Raymond, to the relationship now that would have to play out between himself and Agyapong. In his speech, he reserved a line for him. Actually, he says, I will need all of you to break the 8. And then he says, including my good friend, Agyapong, who really wanted to give me a showdown. And he ends by saying, well done. Was that enough?
Yes, an acknowledgement that he has done a lot of work in this campaign too. And in all fairness, the likes of Agyapong have always become like people you need for your elections. But sometimes you want to keep them at bay because sometimes they can hurt your big too. So on one hand, you want a new face, new set of people signaling a new NPP going into the future. And he says, and I liked how he explained his breaking the 8 thing. A departure from what we've been discussing all through, or what every other member of the party says. It says it's not about partisanship. It's about continuity. A new country where we know that there's an agenda we are pursuing, no matter who is in charge, and everything he talks about that. What he means here is that he is setting the stage for Agyapong's participation in this future campaign, which we have all agreed is important. The only difficulty is that he also said the signal is the same old NPP that's in charge. Because the signals cannot be that on one hand, I want to show you that I'm a different person. And on the other hand, I also show you that it's the same machine I'm riding on, the same sort of people, the same sort of things I'm going to tell you, and the same sort of things that Agyapong does to win election. That's what I'm going to use to win the next election. That signal is not so clear to me. But to Agyapong, this is a very big negotiating table for him. He acknowledges, I'll need you. So what do you want me to do to come on board? Would it be continue with business engagements or for my own personal future? And I'm even beginning to get a hint here that if the vice president told or is brought to his attention that, listen, for the guy showing alone, let him be your running mate, I'm not so convinced you'll be opposed to the idea. But is he a man you will want to sit on the table very close to you as number 2? That's the conversation that will happen. But acknowledging him alone is enough. I'm just hoping that beyond the speech, a lot more engagement will prevent Agyapong from now saying, I'm going after MPs. Reverting to the life that Agyapong lived prior to getting into this kind of campaign and doing the very things that people are complaining about. That new dawn will certainly require new tactics and perhaps new faces. But I don't get that signal in this. Hopefully, maybe in the future, we will be getting the details.
Another key block of something Dr. Bawumia touched on, which you've expanded on, and we wonder whether he will go there. He expanded on this Akan theme and make the point, and I think this is a point that we've discussed quite extensively on the show, that his election today is a signal to everybody else that the party that has been tagged as Akan is no more. And he had a whole paragraph where he started talking about the NPP has a place for you. Then he mentions those areas across the country, ethnic, regional bases that had traditionally been excluded from the fold. He says the Volta region. If you're in the Volta region, the NPP is a place for you. If you're in the northern region, the NPP is a place for you. And how much did you read into that? That he was deliberately mentioning that. And I was thinking, okay, so the NDC had pitched themselves as a more inclusive political party, have everybody else in there because they call themselves a Congress.
Yeah.
And here you have Dr. Bawumia delivering his acceptance speech and extensively mentioning various constituencies that have traditionally been excluded from the NPP and saying to them, my example tonight shows now the NPP says, welcome. There's a place for you. How powerful is that?
I mean, look, Evans, listening to Dr. Bawumia, I'm going to answer that question, but first of all, I'll make this point. Listening to him, this is what I get. He's actually telling you how he intends to run his campaign going forward. Watch this critically. When he talks about where he comes from, he starts from the young born in Tamale, from Wale Wale, the Muslim boy. And he talks about the fact that today, the NPP, over the period, has been performing well in the Zongos. And if you come from the Zongo and everything, there's a place for you. It tells you also that one of the things you would see in the 2024 election is when it comes to the issue of ethnicity, when it comes to the issue of religion, it would have a major play. Watch this critically. If you remember, in 2016, Dr. Bawumia was the person who said that Ghana had Muslim and Christian dominance, but the Flagstaff House or the Jubilee House did not represent that because you had 2 Christians in office. Now, once he makes the point, the young boy from the north, somebody from the Volta region, wherever you come from, if you're from the Zongo, the NPP has a place for you. He's telling everybody, once he begins to go around campaigning, he's going to use himself and tell people, this is the party that has a place for everybody. But having said that also, you recognize that Dr. Bawumia talks about the problem that we're facing. He admits that times are difficult. Once he admits that times are difficult, he moves further to talk about the fact that today we can see some levels of improvement. But he doesn't end there. He goes on to say, I have my own vision. And that vision includes food security, technological advancement, and digitalization. What is he telling you? He's telling you that going forward, these are some of the things that I'll be talking about. These are the things that will be shaping our campaign as we go into election 2024. And for me, as an analyst, you're looking at this and you're saying, okay, we really have a contest in 2024. Because look, one of the things the NPP has done, and Asabi was here, he admitted it, because consistently one thing had been used against them, Akan party, Akan party, Akan party. And today you have Dr. Bawumia, that agenda would not work again. But it doesn't end there. The other dominance of the NDC in the Zongo areas, for instance, and you have Zongo caucus for the NDC. Today, you have a Muslim leading the NPP. So it's no longer going to be just a Northerner, But in the Zongo caucus, for instance, you have even the NDC dominance in that Zongo caucus shaking, because he's going to come there. And there's something they say in the Muslim circles: a brother is a brother. I mean, translated loosely. And you've seen it happening. You've seen it even at events that he has shown up there, for instance. And so if you look at everything that Dr. Bawumia has said, he's given